let's start with... Which club should we start with? Let's start with Spurs. Let's start with Spurs. And with Spurs, firstly, Spurs have signed Yves Bissouma, which is a fantastic signing, pending the potential court case. That is a fantastic signing. A brilliant signing. He will slide into that double pivot perfectly. He can be defensive, allowing Højbjerg to get up the pitch, or allowing whoever they want to partner Bissouma with to get up the pitch. He's brilliant. Brilliant signing, 25 million. That is the kind of shrewd business that elite teams do. And as much as to my dismay, Spurs are slowly becoming that. So, fantastic signing. And as the central midfield or a defensive midfielder was a position which I flagged towards the back end of the season, which they needed. They went out, addressed it nice and early, Premier League proven, still relatively young, can play on the ball, can be a destroyer, versatile in the systems they can play. Brilliant. Top-notch signing, 25 million. Can't ask for more for Yves Bissouma. So that is really good. But let's move on. Let's move to a signing that they could make for Spurs, and that is... Obviously, I've been very public about Spurs signing a left-sided centre-back. I don't think Ben Davies is going to be the guy to take them to that level that they want to get to under Conte. So I've flagged Lisandro Martinez from Ajax. I've flagged other potential left-sided centre-halves. But I've spoken about them enough. I want to speak about a slightly more attacking player and a player that will be a game changer for Spurs if they're able to get his hands on him. And I've gone with Lorenzo Pellegrini from Roma. Now, this is a transfer that could or could not happen. He's been very public about... I mean, Newcastle have put in a £50 million bid that was rejected and rejected in quite emphatic circumstances. And Pellegrini has been public about stating that he wants to stay at Roma. However, coming over to a London club, massive stadium, Champions League football, under Antonio Conte, playing with Son and Kane, and a real system and project being built at Spurs, I feel like it'd be very hard for Pellegrini to turn down. So for that reason, I've gone with him as the player Spurs should sign. And if we just bring up his FBref stats right here, you can see that compared to other wingers and attacking midfielders, he's quite good in good areas. He's got fantastic... So he has 5.31 shot-creating actions per 90, ranking the 97th percentile, and 3.54 shots per 90, ranking the 98th percentile. These two stats show that he's busy. He's busy. He wants to get on the ball. He wants to drive. He wants to make sure that he's known. Like he's going to have an impact on most games. And if we bring up his heat map here, we can see that he's able to float around anywhere pretty much behind Harry Kane. He can play on the left, can play on the right. He can also play in that double pivot should circumstances fall where he needs to play there. And he could really be a game changer for Spurs. He's played in that three at the back system. He's played in that three at the back system towards the back end of the season for Roma, so it will be a seamless transition should he come in. He's got 12 goals and assists this season. He's got good set piece delivery, and he has a high output, like we saw with the shot creating actions and total shots. Like I said, he can play as a wide forward. He can play next to Son and behind Kane. He can also, should Conte switch up the system, he can be at number 8 or a number 10. I think this is the perfect signing for Spurs because he's not a player... He's different to Son and he's different to Kane. You don't want to bring in a player which is similar to Son that wants to get on the ball and drive. He's more of a creative player. He's more of a... Think a Thomas Muller-esque style player. Maybe not exactly the same, but he's very good at positioning himself in the right areas to get shots off, to be able to influence in the final third. He's still relatively young. I think he's still only 25 years old. So he's got years on him. He's got years to build into that Conte system. And Conte would obviously, being an Italian coach, managing in the Italian league, would have his eye on Pellegrini as well. I think this could be a very, very, very good signing for Spurs. Perhaps the only flaw, if you were to call it that, or perhaps the only hindrance is what I said before, that he doesn't really want to leave Roma, and it will cost Spurs around about 60 to 70 million pounds to get the job done. Now, as we've seen, money is really as it's transpired, money is really no means to Tottenham right now, considering the cash injection that they've got. But I feel like with the introduction of Bissouma, with Jed Spence potentially, and Ivan Perisic as well, you've ticked off 3 boxes already. If they get a centre-half in the door, I feel like the one player that they're missing is that real attacking difference maker. Because they've got Kane, they've got Son. Obviously, Kane, we all know the injury struggles that he could have. Kulusevski's hit the ground running. So you've got those three players who are fantastic. And Kulusevski and Son are very similar players in terms of they like to get on the ball. They like to drive forward with the ball. They like to carry the ball. And they're more final third kind of second strikers in a sense. Maybe Son more than Kulusevski. But Pellegrini can offer that difference. He got some stature about him as well. And I feel like he could be the guy to add a different dimension to the Spurs attack. If you bring up his heat map once more, you can see the versatility. He can practically play anywhere behind Harry Kane. He can drive into the box as well. Got good set piece delivery, as we can see that he takes corners as well. Good tracking back as well, as we can see. He's really getting back, helping the defense. Like I said, can play in the back three, can play in the back four. He's really offering that, like I said, different layer to that Spurs attack because it's quite one-dimensional. If you've got Lucas Moura, Kulusevski, and Son Heung-min, all very similar players. Obviously, Harry Kane, they don't really have a deputy for him. He can be that difference maker, can be that different layer of attack, can be that je ne sais quoi, if you were to call it that. He can be that real difference maker. So that is, if you just bring up his FB ref once more, you can see that he's very well-rounded. Progressive passes received, 7.51, which means he likes to get into areas. He likes to get into those areas in between the lines, pushing up against the back four, or against the back line rather, playing with his back towards goal a little bit. And these are also stats compared to other attacking midfielders / wingers. Now, in a traditional sense, attacking midfielders play as number 10s and wingers play out wide. In Spurs' system, in the Conte system, very fluid front three, especially between the two in behind Harry Kane. So take these stats with a little bit of a grain of salt in terms of their comparison too. He's also got 0.24 expected assists per 90 as well, which means he's very creative in a sense. As well, if you just look below that, 0.51 non-penalty expected goals plus expected assists per 90. So he's really threatening. He offers, like I said, different dimension, and he can really be that difference maker to that Spurs attack. While this fee could be high, while he potentially won't want to leave, I feel like if they can get this deal across the line, it could be the player to send Spurs to that next level. If Spurs sign this player, they could be a Premier League title challenger. Like, this player is a missing piece for Spurs to becoming a top 4 team to a title challenging team, in my opinion. If they get this deal over the line, this could be the difference maker. Spurs will be up there with Liverpool and City next season, in my opinion. Because of the manager, because of the players that they already have, because of the system. I feel like it's a system that works in the Premier League, the Conte system, as we've seen with Tuchel and with other teams that have deployed a similar system. He could be the guy. So I think that's potentially one avenue. Like I said, left-sided centre-half. And if this deal can't get across the line for whatever reason, other players that they could be looking at, maybe Nabil Fekir and Ilkay Muniain, who are two players maybe not as physical as Pellegrini, or not as up to the Premier League physicality levels as Pellegrini put it in that sense. But Fekir and Muniain both offer that creativity, that versatility as well, can play in multitude of positions, are very systematic and very working class in a sense. They like to work hard, they like to dig their heels in and work for the team. So these are two, well, Pellegrini in particular, but also Muniain and Fekir are the three players that they should feel for that position. Now, let's move on.